We know that navigating retirement planning can feel like a shot in the dark, which is exactly why each week here on News Talk Radio 580 AM and 105.9 FM, we turn to Fresno's own Sean Mason, financial advisor and president of Mason Street Wealth Management. Sean, fantastic to see you. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Casey, I'm great. It's good to see you again. And to all of you tuning in, I love that you're with us. We have a lot of good stuff today, so hang on.
Yes, we sure do. We've got much to discuss today. But before we dig into it all, we want to make sure that you know how to reach us. 559-847-0039 is our phone number. And if you've been questioning whether your retirement plan is truly serving your interests, now's your chance to find out. Sean and his team are offering an introductory retirement planning assessment to our first 5 callers today. This is a complimentary consultation, no strings attached, no obligation. Just an opportunity to get answers to your big retirement questions, and it's an exclusive offer for our radio listeners. But remember, only a handful of slots are open, so let's go ahead and get yours secured. 559-847-0039 is that number for you again. One last time, 559-847-0039. Or for more details, you can always find us online at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com. All right, Sean, let's get into it. The Fed is due to meet again over interest rates in mid-September, so that means higher rates for at least another month or so. Here is Mass Mutual's Kelly Kowalski on CNBC. Take a listen.
Higher interest rates for us mean higher earnings, higher reinvestment rates. One trend that we see with the higher interest rates is a lot of annuity sales, and we've just seen, really steady demand for annuities because people seek the relative certainty of return and safety.
So, Sean, what are you telling clients who have been on the fence when it comes to buying annuities for guaranteed income? Talk to us about your thoughts.
Well, Kelly's right. The interest rate environment absolutely has an effect on annuity strategies. But to be clear, it's important to determine if an annuity is the best solution for what you're trying to accomplish. Any investment should only be used to support a strategy and a financial plan. Maybe you want to add guarantees to your income in retirement or reduce risk in your portfolio. Annuities can even enhance your Roth conversion strategy or give you leverage on your long-term care funding. We'll help you determine if an annuity is right for you. But to answer your question, Casey, if an annuity is the best fit, for sure you should get off the fence now. Gordon and Taylor came into our office a couple of weeks ago. They had purchased an annuity back in 2019 when interest rates were lower. We showed them an annuity that would significantly increase their income. They decided to make the change, and now they'll have more discretionary lifestyle money. The rates that an annuity company can offer are dependent on the interest rate environment when you first open the account. The higher the current interest rates, the better the potential guaranteed lifetime income the annuity can provide. It's important to note, though, usually growth rates are only guaranteed for the first year or two. They can change throughout the life of the annuity. You should recognize the company's history of keeping the integrity of their original rate offer. So we'll only recommend those companies with proven high integrity rate standards.
Well, let me ask you this, Sean. Can you talk to us a little bit more about the sense of urgency here with the Fed's next meeting in mid-September? You said people who are on the fence should be acting now. So can you talk to us about why that's the better option than, waiting and see what's happening with the rates?
Yeah, for sure. The financial markets are already pricing in rate reductions for this year. We're starting to see evidence of the job market weakening, which puts a lot of pressure on the Feds to lower interest rates. Also, the Fed Chair Jerome Powell's term ends in May of next year. At this point, he's been reluctant to lower rates, but you can bet the next Fed chair will be hawkish on lowering interest rates. And the markets, especially annuity companies, will be anticipating that. Now it's the time to figure it out if an annuity should be part of your financial plan, and we'll help you walk through that.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors to consider here, so I always want to emphasize the importance of incorporating the help of a professional to walk you through your options and help you decide that best path forward for whatever your specific situation may be. An introductory retirement planning assessment with Sean is the way to do it, and he has set aside 5 spots on his calendar this week for our radio listeners to take advantage, completely complimentary. 559-847-0039 is the number to dial, and spots will fill up. So go ahead and make that call, 559 847-0039. Or if you prefer online, you can always visit us anytime at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com. All right, Sean, I saw an article this week on Bankrate that I wanted to talk to you about. It said if you're worried that the stock market is going to go down and take your retirement money with it, do these two things. 1, avoid the craziness of all the latest stocks, headlines, and trends. 2, embrace the boring, because there's nothing wrong with 4 and 5% returns. So wanted to get your thoughts here, Sean. For how many of your clients do you find that boring is better?
Yeah, it reminds me of the dot-com days back in the early 2000s. There's that same feeling of excitement, AI, crypto. It feels like opportunity. But fighting that emotion can be a struggle. You know, Casey, most people that come to me are nearing or in retirement. They don't care if it's boring or exciting. They want to make sure their money will be there to support their retirement lifestyle. Growth, it's important to outpace inflation and taxes, and everyone has a different risk tolerance. But it's important to remember losses will hurt you more than gains will help. After hearing the radio show, Martha came into us for a second opinion. And in discussing her risk tolerance, we determined her investment portfolio should reflect a risk profile number of 45 out of 100, 100 being the riskiest. Our analysis of her investment uncovered her portfolio had a risk portfolio of 82. If history were to repeat itself like in 2001 or 2008, she could lose up to 42% of her retirement savings. People come to me to help figure out how much risk they need in their financial plan and to structure their portfolio so that their income is stable regardless of market volatility. As detrimental as high interest rates can be to the economy, we can really take advantage of them now while they last to reduce risk and enhance portfolio performance. In many cases, we might want to lock in these high interest rates for a longer term.
So as I was reading this article, I thought it brought up a really interesting point. It is easy to get caught up in the news cycle about the market, and it can make you feel like you have to constantly be reacting. And I think the idea of just, tuning all that out and embracing that boring sounds really peaceful. But on the other hand, Sean, you also wonder, is it a one-size-fits-all solution? So do you think the boring is better approach is right for everyone? Who do you think is the ideal client for that kind of strategy? And maybe who is that not a good fit for?
Yeah, there's definitely never a one-size-fits-all. And in this situation, risk is the priority because we need to have peace of mind. We need to be able to sleep at night. Time horizon is key to determine the level of risk you should take in your investment portfolio. Most people feel like when we're 30, we can be ultra aggressive. And then the closer we get to retirement, we need to dial it back and get more conservative. I urge you to consider another perspective. Instead of our own time horizon, consider the time horizon of each dollar or bucket of money in your portfolio. When we retire with our $1 million, we're not going to spend it all in the first 5 years. Some of those dollars are going to be spent in 7 years, 10 years, 15, even 20 years out. Wouldn't it make sense to invest the bucket we'll use in 10 years more aggressive and the bucket we'll use in the first couple years more conservative? This strategy will still keep you balanced, but it will help smooth out your experience on that market roller coaster. And this is what we talk to our clients about every day. It takes advanced planning. We're offering to our first 5 callers a complimentary financial planning assessment. So give us a call at 559-847-0039. Again, that number is 559-847-0039. I'd love for you to come in, have a discussion, discuss your situation, and determine which direction is best for you.
Yes, you do not want to miss out on this opportunity because there is no pressure here. There's no obligation. There's no judgment. This is simply an opportunity for you to sit down with Sean and ask your big retirement questions and get those personalized answers. So snag your spot while we still have them. That number for you again, 559-847-0039, or you can always find us online at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com. All right, Sean, there have been a number of economists who say we won't see the effects of tariffs until late summer or early fall. Well, here we are. And as Mark Zandi of Moody's explains, he is watching the unemployment numbers closely. Take a listen.
Once one company in an industry lays off, you tend to see all the other companies in that industry lay off as well. And you can go from no layoffs to a lot of layoffs pretty quickly. Hopefully American consumers hang tough, continue to do their thing, don't pull back, and, we'll avoid that downturn. But if they do pull back even a little bit and businesses respond by laying off, you get into that kind of self-reinforcing vicious cycle called a recession.
So let's talk a little about a recession, Sean. What happens during one? How long do they last? And is this something that you're accounting for when you are helping a client build a retirement plan?
Yeah, it's a big piece of puzzle. And certainly there's been a lot of concern over tariffs, but more so during the first and second quarters of this year. It seems like those concerns are fading. In fact, we're seeing more optimism as inflation is holding steady, and people are recognizing these new economic policies appear at this point to be working as the economy seems to be headed in the right direction. But, as Mark suggested, we need to be hyper-focused on unemployment. Recessions can be a result of many different economic conditions. An economy heating up and expanding faster than the resource capacity. It can cause supply and demand issues, which then can start a chain reaction, inflation, consumer weakness, unemployment, ultimately sending the economy into a recession. A recession is actually defined as the economy experiencing 2 quarters of negative or no growth. The average since World War II has been 3 to 4 quarters, but the 2008 Great Recession lasted 6 quarters. Families come to us to safeguard their lifestyle from these recessions or other economic downturns. After working all those years, you don't deserve to have your quality of life dependent on market conditions. Our comprehensive financial process will create a plan that is designed to weather market storms, and they're sure to come along the way.
Sean, it's interesting when people hear recession, it can create all sorts of worries, but the reality is not everyone experiences it in the same way. Some folks might still be decades out from retirement while others are right on the doorstep, and a recession is going to affect them differently. So with that in mind, does your approach to navigating a recession shift depending on where somebody is in their retirement journey? Would strategies look different for somebody who's got, let's say, 30 years to go versus somebody who's just a few years away?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And for sure, the strategy is different for someone 30 years from retirement compared to being just a couple years away. But that's because the dollars being earmarked for retirement are 30 years from being used. Maybe that family is saving money to buy a house. That bucket of money might need more conservative approach considering its time horizon. Because retirement can be 15, 20, even 30 years, the relationship between income planning, investment planning, and tax planning has to be the priority, and understanding how they affect each other is key.
Yeah, so if you are listening and you want to know if your retirement plan is prepared for a recession, Sean and his team want to help you build a plan that's going to stand strong in any economy and to secure you through any kind of volatility that might come your way. 559-847-0039 is the number to reach us to secure that spot, because our first 5 callers will get an introductory retirement planning assessment. This is a complimentary consultation to see if your plan is recession ready. Again, that number for you, 559-847-0039, or you can always visit us at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com, and you can claim your spot that way. That is going to do it for us this week on Mason Street Retirement Insights. We will be back next week, though, same time, same place, for more great insight from President of Mason Street Wealth Management, Sean Mason. And with that, Sean, I will give you the last word.
I care about your success. I want you to come in and have a discussion. We'll walk through your situation and figure out which direction you should be going. Come in. We've got 5 slots available. Give us a call, 559-847-0039, or jump on the website and reach us at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com. We can't wait to talk to you, and we'll see you next week.
Mason Street Wealth Management, MSWM, is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by MSWM on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of Motivate Investments. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. Investment advisory services are offered through Motivate Investments, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. The information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through Sean A. Mason, California, insurance license number 0B54860. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Motivate Investments. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. MSWM is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if MSWM is licensed in your state, please call 559-892-0002.